All right, y'all. What's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I am back with another video. All right, y'all. Invicta FC recap, folks. Invicta FC's been around for 50 cards now. Can y'all believe that? 50 cards deep now in the women's promotional company. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. That's been around this long. Just because I always felt that there weren't enough fans of just hardcore WMMA, just like strictly WMMA. And, having an organization that just promotes women, I didn't really think like the casual fans would be around the sport, which they really aren't. I think it is just the hardcore fans that are growing, and that's what's been keeping it going for so long. Like there still is a good size of MMA fans out there that still support the women. So yeah, shout out to all the fans that stick with Invicta FC. Shout out to Invicta FC for being around this long, though. Putting on some solid cards throughout the years. Every now and then we'd have a card that was just average, but for the most part, I always felt like these cards had some good fighters that you can always put the spotlight on. There's always one good fight, or at least two or three good fights, and two or three good fighters that just put that spotlight on and say, okay, this girl's going to be the next one to get signed to the big leagues or something like that, right? But yeah, 50 cards deep now. This past Wednesday, they put on a strawweight tournament, 4 women, 2 semifinal fights, and a championship fight for the vacant strawweight belt, which was vacated by Emily Ducote. And you also have 4 regular fights, I believe at 135, a couple at 125 and 115. Overall, it was a solid card. We had some decent action. Only one finish out of the whole card. Of course, we have some fighters, still trying to find their way and develop their skills. So we didn't see too many going after the big finish. Carolina Wojcik, she was probably the only one going after the finish in her 2 fights, but she just couldn't really follow up. But overall, we had some good action, and pretty much who I thought was going to win the tournament did. Valeska Machado, aka Tina Black. She proved to be the more technical fighter, defensive, a bit lacking in action at times. Just kind of slowing the pace down, but just playing it safe, which I understand. When you're fighting two 3 round fights in one night, you have to kind of switch it up a little bit. But overall, I think she just had a couple more gears than the other fighters, and she just knew how to make adjustments and proved to be the more well-rounded fighter on Wednesday night. Let's go back and look at the whole card. I just want to go through each fight, give y'all a quick review, and just recommend the fights y'all need to check out and some of the fighters that you need to, also follow that could be on the come up in this one. All right. So our first fight was Elise Pone. She scored a unanimous decision over Melissa Parker. Elise Pone, she pretty much just utilized her size. I mean, you could obviously see the size difference here between these two fighters. And round after round, she just closed that distance. The smoother, just the smoother grappler in this fight. Just really using that size and just being that blanket on the smaller but harder puncher in Melissa Odessa Parker. I mean, Parker had some success with the power shots, but she just didn't have the speed and IQ to create range or use her strength to get the bigger grappler off of her. So, Pone was just on a mission in this fight, just really using that size, getting a few takedowns. Like I said, she got hit with a few big shots, but when she would get hit, that's when she would close that range and just be that blanket on Parker. Like I said, Parker in the past, like the Evis Verbeek fight, she can be tough and she can go in there and scrap, but sometimes her octagon IQ just doesn't really kick in there. I think she still needs to get out of that boxer mentality and become more of a MMA fighter, right? But yeah, Pone, she was on a mission. She definitely won the fight. No rest, no water, no advice. She just wanted to fight. I mean, if you go back and look at the fight, every round she was just dead eyeing her opponent, just standing there every time. Like when the bell rings, she's standing there staring you down. Boom, she's back at the fight, right? So yeah, man. Shout out to Elise Pone just going in there, being that dog, and getting the victory over Parker. Second fight was Carolina Wojcik, who defeated UFC veteran Gloria DeBaller in the first semifinal fight. Wojcik, first 2 rounds, I believe she outlanded DePaula. Some people felt that the first round was close, but I thought DePaula was just closing range well, landing those wide shots and doing a lot of damage in the second round with those wide shots and securing the takedown and out grappling DePaula. DePaula, she won the last round to me, but she could have got the finish, and she needed the finish because she was landing the more damaging strikes. She was putting in a lot of work with her straight punches when she found her range, but it was a little too late. So Carolina Wojcik, she won the first fight, and Gloria DePaula was gone. She was out of there. And, that's something I was saying even in the UFC. She needs to work on her adjustments. She really needs to work on being a complete fighter. She's going to have to take fighters down in these type of fights. She's bigger, taller. got to use her, got to utilize wrestling and grappling whenever she's facing these quick little fighters like that. She can't outpace, right? So we'll see what happens from here with Gloria DePaula. Next fight in the semifinals was Tina Black scored a split decision over Ediana Silva. She's like 20 years old, little young, scrappy fighter in there. But Machado, she was able to handle it. Machado able to create range, outstrike Silva at times, but Silva, she was staying in there. She was closing that distance. She landed some hard shots on Machado, causing Machado to stay on that back foot and just pick her strikes. Machado, she started to adjust a little bit to the puncher, but she was still getting hit with some shots right on the chin. So I could see where it got a little close, but Machado made some nice adjustments in this fight, scoring takedowns, getting a lot of ground control time in, and just picking her shots from the range and from her range to take the fight. I had it 2-1 for Machado, but like I said, it was a close split decision on the judges' scorecards. Next fight, Danny McCormick, unanimous decision over Myra Mazer. Another fight. This is another fighter going for a finish. Shout out to Danny Mazer. I forgot about this. Danny Mazer, she came out guns blazing with that brawling style. Almost got Mazer out of there in the first round with a hard left hand. Followed up with the barrage, but Mazer, she survived, man. She survived that barrage. The ref was looking in close, but she survived, stayed in the fight, utilizing her ground game. Her ground game really did save her. The fight got more competitive down the line with McCormick slowing down. Mazer started to land her own strikes. And in the third, I think her grappling skills almost helped her set up a submission. But Danny, she stayed active, she survived, and she took it home. All right. And also, I think in Mazer's corner, she had Misha Tate in there, who helped her out, I think, a lot with her wrestling and grappling. And she kind of helped her make those adjustments throughout the fight. So, yeah, shout out to Misha Tate. I think she's a good corner woman. I think she is a good trainer. Some fighters, I believe, when they get into that corner mode, they are better sometimes, and they are better at training than they are at fighting. Next fight on the card, this was not a tournament fight. This was a flyweight fight between Claire Guthrie and Bridget Chase. Claire Guthrie, former tough veteran, Tough House, the flyweight edition, scored a unanimous decision over Bridget Chase. Man, these Chase girls, Hope Chase and Bridget Chase, they are some like scrappy, wild, gritty, dirty fighters in there, man. Like Claire Guthrie, if it wasn't for her skills and her ability to just kind of slow the pace of the fight, she probably would have been overwhelmed. But shout out to Claire Guthrie, man. Like she's a tough, scrappy fighter herself. She just needs to really work on her defense a little bit more. But this was a rough fight for Guthrie. Rough fight. Her skills and her experience, like I said, helped her beat this gritty, wild, dirty fighter. Chase, she like skips out on the handshake, kicks Guthrie into the cage. Guthrie bounced back and clinched up right away. I mean, she hit the cage, and I was like, oh, man, this girl's going to get knocked out. But she bounced back real quick, used her grappling to slow the pace down and get Chase down, landed some hard ground and pound on full mount. And I was like, there you go. This girl was being dirty. Get dirty on her. With Chase, she got in a little bit of the same work in the first round, but Guthrie bounced back. Won the first round, in my opinion, after that shaky start. Second round, Guthrie landed a big right hand and dropped Chase in this round. But as she connected, she went on and took Chase down. And as she took her down, that's where she got in that work again, just utilizing her ground skills. Last round, Guthrie gets another takedown, just beats Bridget Chase up, with heavy strikes from behind, just flattening her out like she was about to, get the stoppage win with ground and pound. But she survives, pretty much dominated the third round. So, yeah, Claire Guthrie won that one clearly. Shout out to Claire Guthrie. I hope she can bounce back and get into the UFC, because I believe, she has the skills, just needs to tighten up on her defense a little bit more, just try to avoid those shots. And I think she can advance pretty soon. She was one of the fighters to beat Juliana Miller, but she had lost in the Tough House. Let's see. Next fight on the card was a co-main event between another UFC veteran, Talita Bernardo. She gets a second round finish via Kimura over Katarina Lehner, who's been out for she's been out about 2 years, I believe, and hasn't scored a win in almost 4 or 5 years. She's on a 4-fight losing streak. But still, Katarina Lehner was posing some threat to Talita Bernardo. Once again, Talita Bernardo still not sharp on her feet. Lehner dropped her in the opening minute. So right away, Bernardo goes in takedown mode, uses her BJJ to win the first round, just kind of um, out grapple Laner, taking it back and just controlling. And that's what I said, man. As soon as I saw that happen, I was like, oh, okay, Toledo Bernardo, she really needs to work on her footwork. Her jiu-jitsu is not going to save her all the time. It did in this fight because Lena didn't really have the footwork to back up her boxing. The upper body was fine, but as far as her footwork and her range, Lehner was just open for takedowns. So she winds up dominating the first round after, getting dropped, Toledo Bernardo. But going into the second round, again, Lehner opens up, landing good shots, just landing some stiff shots to the body and to the head on Bernardo. So, Bernardo, again, getting picked apart against the cage. So, again, her jiu-jitsu saves her. She goes in for a takedown and turns this thing into a grappling match and sets up that submission. Pretty much just nice transitions when she's on the ground. Side control. She goes from side control to half guard, and she's able to stand up, reset, and then get the back of Lehner and separate that right arm, and boom, she gets that Kimura. She's able to pull that arm out, and Lehner's tapping right away. She's not gonna let that thing go like Molly McCann did in the Aaron Blanchfield fight. She tapped real quick. So yeah, from here, Toledo Bernardo looks like she's gonna get a title shot. They announced it in the ring. I think it's coming in January. So yeah, man, we'll see what happens from here. I think Tanisha Tennant has the skills to beat her on the feet. She just needs to stay away from the jiu-jitsu, stay away from the ground. But yeah, let me know what y'all thought of Toledo Bernardo's performance in this fight. Because like I said, she's just really lacking in those stand-up exchanges in these fights. All right, but let's go to the main event, the finals. We have Valeska Machado versus Carolina Wojcik. And as y'all know, Machado, a.k.a. Tina Black, she wins unanimous decision over Carolina Wojcik. Pretty much a striking clinic here. I believe Tina Black just utilized her range well in the first round, just picking her shots, leg kicks here and there, sticking that jab and right hand out, and just creating a lot of range with her movement and just really getting under Wojcik's skin, because Wojcik wants to push the fight. She wants a banger, right? But Machado is doing the smart thing, just fighting at a good range, picking her shots throughout these rounds. I believe it was in the second round. Wojcik does close the distance and starts to fight more in the clinch where she needed to keep it. Use a few body shots, knees to the body just to kind of slow Machado down. But Machado, she kept the range throughout the fight, just kind of picking Wojcik apart, and she takes it home. So I pretty much had Machado win about 2-1. Wojcik did have her moments in one round. I believe it was the second or the third. But I would say it was probably a shutout to me. I think it was a shutout. Yeah, I believe that Machado did enough to just take the fight, off her range and just playing it safe. A couple of slow moments in there, like I said, and I believe the second round, where Tina Black just was kind of letting the round slide. And, when you want to get into the UFC, you have to have a mixture of action. I think she had the reach in this fight to just kind of put in more work, put on more volume just to get the crowd going and just to do a lot more damage. Sometimes you got to take those chances on these fighters that come forward. You can't always just say, okay, I'm worried about the big punch coming. Again, I understand cautiousness, but sometimes you got a lot of movement. Go ahead and put some of that movement, translate some of that movement into volume, let them combinations go. But yeah, shout out to Valeska Machado. She won the belt. She's the new Invicta FC strawweight champion. From here, the UFC could be calling, so she better be working on standby, because, they just got rid of Sylvania Gomez Juarez. They might be looking to fill somebody in that strawweight division ASAP, right? So yeah, man, good card, pretty decent card. Of course, I would say that I could have seen a little bit more action. I wanted to see a few more finishes, but rarely do you have like 5 finishes on an Invicta card when it comes to the women. You know what I mean? Unless you have like featherweights and lightweights on here and maybe a few more bantamweights, those fighters that come in heavier, they will land big shots like that. But overall, it was some pretty decent action. I think if I had to rate the card, I would say it's probably like a 6 out of 10. Yeah, about maybe like 6 or 7 out of 10, something like that. I think we had some pretty decent fighters to keep an eye on. I'd say the best fights on this card were probably Guthrie Chase, McCormick Mazer, and I did like the Machado Wajik fight for the most part, as far as the technical standpoint. As far as the fighters to look out for, oh yeah, Fatima Klein was supposed to fight Danny McCormick, but I guess she had to pull out. I couldn't find out why. I haven't really checked, so I didn't really get a chance to let y'all know. But yeah, Mazer, she was a stand-in for Danny McCormick. Because I had told y'all Fatima Klein was going to be on the card, but yeah, I didn't know last minute that she had pulled out. But I believe if she was fighting Danny McCormick, we would have seen a finish. We would have seen a finish on the feet or on the ground. I'm just being real. I love Danny McCormick's style, but Fatima, she's a killer. She's a young killer in there right now. So hopefully she can get on the next card coming in January. So yeah, those are the 3 fights. Fighters to look out for, of course, is Valeska Machado might be going to the UFC. But as far as moving forward, Claire Guthrie, definitely want to see Claire Guthrie come back. Y'all got to check her out. She's a pretty solid fighter. Let's see who else on the card. I'd say Carolina Wajik and Danny McCormick, if you like excitement, they come in there to scrap. And even the young girl, Ediana Silva, she's, short, little, compact fighter, but she comes in there to bang, and she's young too. So, she ain't scared. She is not scared. So, yeah, man, good card, decent card. If you're a fan of Invicta FC and WMMA, definitely check it out. The card is for free on YouTube. If you did watch the card, just let me know in the comment section what y'all thought of the fights. And, yeah, that's all I got on this one, guys. Combo Breaker 99. Shout out to the new strawweight champion. I'm out. Peace.